Hey everyone, this is David Pike, Motorcity Mechanic, and I'm back with another video. Now today we're going to be talking about late model Ram diesel trucks that have the DEF system and how the DEF level gauge being stuck on full for a long period of time is probably a normal condition. Let me explain why. So the scenario is you filled up your DEF tank and you've driven it possibly a couple thousand miles and nothing has changed. The needle is still on full. Now those that drive cab and chassis trucks that have the larger capacity DEF tank are going to notice this issue more than a regular Ram truck with the DEF system because the actual tank is smaller in capacity. Now, so you think there's something going on. The last thing you want is one of these error messages popping up on the display saying that you will not be able to restart in so many miles, or the other one where it will not go over no more than 5 miles per hour. So now you're concerned, you call up your local dealership, you bring it in. Now I want to go over to basic operation of how that DEF pump and sending unit works, so that way you can get a clearer understanding of the system and why the issue is more than likely normal. So what we've got here in front of us is a gas engine fuel pump. Mounts to the top of the fuel tank and it's suspended inside. Now inside you've got a level unit right here. It's basically a rheostat, and attached to that is an arm with a float on it. That float will go up and down based on the level of the fuel. That movement moves over to the rheostat board and sends a message out to whatever module controls the fuel level. So that's how the gas engine or typical sending unit works that all of us have known over the years. Now you cannot use this chain of thought when it comes to a DEF tank, and there's a reason why, and I'm getting ready to show you. So here's the DEF pump situated in a simulated DEF tank. Now as you're looking at it, you start noticing that the way it's mounted from the bottom. It's not suspended from the top like the gas engine fuel pump. Another thing you're going to pick up on is there is no rheostat, no arm, and no float that goes up and down with the level. You will see these orange kind of reddish rubber pieces. That's actually the DEF heater. Previous models actually used engine coolant to warm it up. Now they're doing it electrically. Now what we're witnessing right here now is the main thing. That's what detects the level of the DEF fluid. It's a sonar board. And what it does is it does not start reading until it's exposed to air. So let's keep that in mind. If you look directly above from where I'm touching to the top of the tank, there is basically a unmeasured amount of DEF, because like I said, it does not read till it's exposed to air, correct? So if you've got a 9.25 gallon DEF tank like the cab and chassis do, that means approximately 2.25 gallons does not get measured. That right there is the basis for that DEF gauge being stuck on full. So let's throw some numbers in here, and to make things easier we're going to round it off. We know this is a simulated 9-gallon DEF tank. We also know that approximately 2 gallons of DEF do not get measured. The average across the board that I've seen as far as consumption of DEF is 1,000 miles per gallon. So 2 gallons not measured, 1,000 per gallon, we equate to 2,000 miles that we need to drive before it finally reaches the sonar board. It's detected and we start reading it, and at that point we slowly start coming off of full. The 5-gallon tanks are not as noticeable because the difference from the top of the sonar board to the top of the tank is only half a gallon, which is approximately 500 miles. So you're not going to pick up on this issue as much as the owners of cab and chassis. So like I said, you're going to need to drive it. As long as it changes, you're going to be fine over a period of time. Put at least 2,000 or more on it, 2,500 at the most. If at that point it hasn't changed, then definitely visit your dealer and have it checked. Now the way we're going to test it is we're going to take the filler neck off of the DEF tank. We're going to put a hose in there, and we're actually going to pump or siphon out a little over 2 gallons. At that point we're going to look at the gauge and see if the gauge moved. If it did, then we know it's normal operation. We'll go ahead and reinstall that DEF fluid that we took out of the tank. If at that point it's still not changing, then we know we've got an issue. We've got to diagnose it further. Now all the information I gave you isn't just from me, it's directly from Chrysler. If you don't necessarily want to take my word, feel free, if you take it to a dealership, to ask them to show you the star case that actually pertains to this. It came out in 2014. I'll put the actual star case number right down here. And that's the one you can have them reference to if need be, if you want to see documentation, so that you don't necessarily have to take my word for it. So hopefully after watching this video, you've got a better understanding of how that DEF gauge and sending unit works. As you saw, it's not the typical sending unit, the float style that you see on a gas engine. This one has the sonar board that does not read until the level actually makes contact with it. So we've got that void above that we cannot measure. So of course that's why the gauge doesn't move like it should. I'm not an engineer, not a designer. Physically, there's nothing I can do to change it at this point. As far as Chrysler's concerned, it's more about informing the customer that this is how the system works. No changes will be made. So hopefully you liked the video. If so, please give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Don't forget you can check me out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you got any comments or suggestions about today's video on that DEF gauge or sending unit, or anything Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, or Ram, you can always email me at david@motorcitymechanic.com, and I'll try to get back to you in a timely manner. Once again, everybody, thanks for watching these videos.